Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and usually with me, my hetero life mate, my feelings. How are you, sir?
Hey, it was always, now it's down to usually.
Oh, well, you know why. What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie, watch it, come back to us, and we break it down for you, and we talk about it ceaselessly. This month, we decided to cover Guy Ritchie movies, and specifically today, we're going to cover his latest movie. I don't remember which. Did he come up with a movie in the last 4 years, 5 years? No, I don't think so, right?
I don't think so. Well, obviously there was the Gentleman series that came out after this.
Yeah, that's a completely different thing. But
Wasn't there a movie where Jason Statham gets revenge for something?
Isn't that every single Jason Statham movie?
yeah, you
I
might,
just
you might
described.
have done.
No, but something that Guy Ritchie did with Jason Statham. Maybe I'm wrong.
Possibly. Hey, I don't even follow either of them lately, so I don't know. Might have.
I think
But
the last one with Jason Statham was the Beekeepers.
No, there was something
not
that
Guy
Guy Ritchie teamed up with Jason Statham,
I could
and I
check.
saw it and I was actually pleasantly surprised by it.
Oh. No, I can't recall.
Operation Fortune. Ooh, two movies actually. Wrath of a Man from
Wrath of a Man.
2021.
That's the one I'm
And
talking about.
Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerrero or Guerrero from 2023. Interesting. Okay, I'll check those out. Actually, I'm actually interested. But yeah, I'm referring, of course, to the crime drama, The Gentleman. And to talk with us about it is Price of Reason. How are you, Price?
I'm doing good. It's great to be here again.
Awesome. What have you been doing lately, Price, on your channel and stuff?
You know, I do my reviews a lot. Here and there, I also report on news stories, which lately I reported a little more on news stuff, but I usually do reviews, and that's what I do on my main channel. On my second channel, which is a live channel, which is a newer channel, that one is where I do live streams, which I do every Tuesday and Thursday night, which is also pretty cool. So
Nice.
yeah, I've been busy with that.
I've been enjoying your going back and covering Quantum Leap, the original Quantum Leap. I'm
Yes.
like re-remembering old episodes.
Oh,
It's
Scott
a lot of
Bakula.
fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is. That's on my live channel. I mean, the thing is that some people, they just have one channel and they do everything on that channel, and that's cool. For me, because for so long I did reviews on my main channel and some news reports, I felt that I don't know if the algorithm, if it matters, but I just figured I'll open up a separate live one where it's kind of like experimental. And anything I feel like doing, I just do. Like last night at 3 a.m., I suddenly performed. I sang live for an hour, just out of nowhere. And I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry that somebody's like, oh, that's not the movie reviews usually do. So that way, nobody really has complaints. It's just kind of an experimental thing.
All right, cool, cool. That's
Good on you,
awesome.
bud.
I have got all but your live channel in the description down below at the moment, but I will
okay.
add that one in as well.
You know, if you go to my main channel, there's a link to the live one, and a lot of times, if you're subscribed to one of them, some post will direct you to the other one. So whatever people do, it'll be fine. But I'm just telling you because you asked me, so I really am enjoying the live, the smaller live experimental channel is actually a lot of fun.
Awesome. It's always good to have fun on YouTube and not just bogged down with algorithm stuff. But I get it. I get the whole splitting of the thing. There's just craziness. Anyway, we'll say hello to the chat. We'll say hello to all the raiders that came over on the Salty Nerd podcast and don't know what the hell is going on. Just stick around. It'll be fun. We'll say hello to Griffin. He's at work on his phone. Don't burn out your battery because sometimes it may explode. Monkey Jeebus and Kaliki Oki, all of the lurkers around. We love you. We appreciate you. You are the backbone of any streaming channel, just like this one that doesn't really do a lot of streaming, just this show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just dive right into The Gentleman, and we'll start with a little segment we call Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take two.
Behind the Screens is where we turn to all my feelings and get the lowdown on everything behind the scenes, production stuff. Take it away, dude.
This has been interesting. Because doing my homework this week, Meth, I'm not sure if you've ran across these too. There's a lot of conflicting information about some certain things about this film.
Oh, there's a lot of conflicting information. It's like it's very few and far between. Also, there's very little that is like behind the scenes stuff because apparently, like a lot of Ritchie's like sets, it's pretty calm once they actually reach to the sort of shooting phase.
Yeah.
So it depends who you ask.
So I was going to start with before that though. I know this is a fact that has been actually it's been verified by multiple sources.
Okay.
There were actual no table reads at all.
That's the first note I have.
Yeah, for the entire script, Ritchie would do just live rehearsals, film them, then either rewrite or adapt the way that talk to a cinematographer and the way that he wanted to be shot in order to make it actually function the way the actors portrayed the characters. Which is something like, could you imagine Stanley Kubrick doing that ever?
Oh my God.
No.
I like that idea. I like that idea, though. Just so
Yeah.
you know, the movie The Karate Kid, it has a whole different version where, first of all, the director just went and I think with a video camera, some cheaper camera, filmed the actors rehearsing the movie. And there's a whole version of basically the actors rehearsing. Then he studied that, and it helped him really formulate what he wanted to do with the movie. So I think that sometimes this strategy isn't bad.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Apparently, it helped with a lot of like camera blocking and all the stuff that they do. It's just sped up the actual filming of the movie.
Smart.
Yeah, and it
And he
also
And he
fixed,
filmed it for like 20 million. Sorry, go on.
and it also fixed up some of the script stuff that he did. Well, all my feelings can talk about it.
Yeah, we'll get to that with that. What's
Yeah.
funny is, just as a side note, that as the 20 million was brought up, isn't it funny that he had Fletcher actually ask for his original ransom to be the actual budget of the film?
Yeah, there's a lot of movie references and movie stuff intertwined with the actual storytelling, which was we'll get to that when we talk about the movie itself.
Yeah. So some casting stuff was interesting. The only real big one was how Kate Beckinsale had to drop out. Was it 2 weeks prior to filming?
Depends who you ask.
And then, well, apparently, she had to drop out
1 month before. That's what I got.
Still, it was very, very close. So Michelle Dockery was brought in pretty late, and as a result, as we had already discussed before, how they would actually just do live rehearsals and then try to readapt them. A lot of the things that she was filming as Rosalind had to be rewritten on the day of shooting. So she had very little time to try to memorize her lines and some of her monologues while just go. Because you know a Ritchie set is you go until he says stop. And
But
Yeah.
why did Kate Beckinsale drop out?
it was due to family issues. That's reported.
Yeah, some sort of family member illness, perhaps. It's like we said, the information is very sketchy depending on who reported on what thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it just seems kind of it's not common that so quickly before the person drops out. Maybe she did have an emergency. I don't know. I could totally see how she would have been good for this role, to be honest. Although
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mind the actress they used, but she certainly could have been good for it.
Yeah, it's not like it was a complicated role. I think she even said she regretted dropping out or something. It's not confirmed, so I can't really say. Yeah, it's for
Oh
definite.
no, that is confirmed. She said it in a Variety interview.
She
She
said it
wanted
in
to
a
be
variety
Yeah,
interview.
she was like, well, she wanted to, but due to family emergencies, that she could not be a
Yeah,
part
but
of the
she
picture.
said something about it could have revitalized her sort of later career after the whole underworld thing was already done and done for. But yeah,
I think she actually had one more Underworld film actually
Really?
after this movie. Yeah. I think it was the final one.
Oh my god.
She'll make like 70 more of those.
Jeez.
I know. It's like Resident Evil. I don't think I don't think it'll ever actually really die. At some point in time, they're gonna make another one.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Please continue.
fun bits about Mr. Hugh Grant.
Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
First of all of his films with Hunnam, he had to film in 5 days.
All of his scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant is great in this, actually. So
Yeah.
in those 5 days, he was very effective.
And he
Yeah.
had to deliver over 40 lines of dialogue.
That's and some of them were rewritten.
Yes, rewritten on spec, on spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
and well, also he had there was a whole bit where he had cheat sheets.
Yeah. Casually placed around where he was walking during
Yes.
the scene. Yeah.
But his original cheat sheets and one of the copies of the original script was actually stolen from his car.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And also he and Matthew McConaughey had actually never met before. They didn't meet on set.
Yeah.
They met on the Graham Norton show doing promo work for the movie.
And
Nice.
they'd never met before because they're not in the same scene.
They're not in the same
Yeah.
scene together. Yeah.
They never are. Some fun bits too. Working titles. Speaking of Mr. Grant, working titles of the film were Tough Guys.
Like the name of the production company.
Well,
No.
Tough Guys is a movie. I mean, it's an 80s movie. Not that they couldn't have called it, but there was actually a movie called Tough Guys in the 80s with Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas.
TOFF guys?
Oh,
Really?
Tough
Yeah,
Guys?
that's
I
why.
thought-
See, there's a difference there
TOFF.
because this is Tough Guys, not Tough Guys.
Ah, I see. What do they mean by tough?
Yeah, because the British, when they say toff, they mean like a posh lord or lady. But
So with
it's
all of
also phonetically saying tough guys.
I know why they changed it. I think that American audiences wouldn't have understood the reference.
yes.
Yeah,
And
prob-
the other one was Bush.
which yeah.
Well, besides the band, obviously, that's a little bit hard to sell there.
I mean-
and
I mean,
oddly,
No,
Oddly,
I mean, he already had a movie called Snatch. Naming another crime
Bush?
drama named Bush would be a little bit too vaginal, we'll say.
maybe it's a
I
little
thought I thought The Gentleman was a good name.
Yeah.
Oh, so do I. But see, but what's funny is the fact that Fletcher utilizes that as the name of his screenplay at the end of the film is Bush.
Yes.
So some former fun stuff is in an homage and a discussion about the conversation between Dry Eye and Matthew. They actually utilize a parabolic mic and the same kind of setup that they utilize in the actual film, The Conversation.
Yeah.
So it's mwah.
That's pretty
Guy
cool.
Ritchie.
I didn't notice that.
It's such a really cool setup. And another great homage too is the sequence at the end of the film when Mickey is kidnapped
Yeah.
is a shot-for-shot tribute to the Long Good Friday.
That's right. That's right. I had it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think I deleted that.
It doesn't end the same way, but
Yeah, it's not it's just a shot for shot from a sequence, but then he did give it a little bit of a twist. But
Yeah.
what I wrote for me is I wrote that this entire movie is a lot of his way of showing how much he loves older movies and how he can take different elements from those movies and update them without them being too bogged down with the old stuff. Meaning he knows who the creators are, he gives them props, but then he uses elements from their crime drama into his crime drama, but it fits within his story.
yes, and the other director that does this very well is Scorsese. Tarantino goes the other route where he goes, "Hey, this is a reference."
Yes, that's true. That's true.
which is great if you enjoy the original material. But other people are like, why is this taking forever? The only other bit that's really great is a lot of the set design that Guy Ritchie himself worked on. The pub.
Yeah, it's his pub, I think, or he owns it.
Co-owns it.
Okay.
And also, obviously, the beer.
Yeah, Gritchy.
It's Gritchy beer. I mean, come on.
It's a bit too on the nose there.
He co-owns Guy Ritchie, Gritchy beer, I think, with David Beckham still, I think. And then also Raymond's Grill.
Yeah.
He did the set deck for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
No, everything else is just kind of in the film interspersed.
I've got a few things to add, which I found interesting. First of all, the guy who plays Ernie, one of the young boys, I keep forgetting their names.
Well, actually, what's funny is they were
toddlers?
supposed to be called the toddlers or the young boys. Yeah,
the toddlers. The actor's name is Bugsy Malone, which
he's a rapper. Yeah,
it's a rapper, so it's a rapper name, but he doesn't have any other name that I can tell. So this was his debut role, and when his agent called, he said he would do the role for free because Snatch was his all-time favorite gangster movie.
And he already had bars about that, where he actually rapped about the fact that he would be in a Guy Ritchie movie one day. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. This is the third time Guy Ritchie had a Mickey character in a movie. First it was Snatch, Brad Pitt. Then it was Ludacris in Rock and Rolla, and Matthew McConaughey in this one. All three of them played by American actors. And the guy playing Lord George Lord, the Asian Lord George. He's an actor who already worked with Guy Ritchie in two previous films. One of them was the Arthur film that he did with Charlie Hunnam. In the Arthur film, he was called George. He also played in Revolver, and in Revolver, he was called Lord John.
I forgot about Revolver.
Yep. Everybody forgets about Revolver, I think.
That King Arthur movie gets a lot of shit. It really wasn't that bad.
I haven't seen it, to be fair.
I started watching. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead, Bryce.
I was once on a plane, and then somebody told me it wasn't as bad as people said, and then I sat and I started watching it. I don't know, maybe it's not the best place to watch a movie on a plane, but I dozed off, I admit it.
Oh, no, that's fine.
That's fine.
I wouldn't say it's the best film, but it's not as bad. People are like, oh, the acting's terrible. I'm like, no, it might be a little bit of a literally for price a snooze fest. But
it somehow it didn't get me invested in it. Maybe, again, I didn't see it in the right setting. Maybe if I really forced myself at home to watch it and stuck with it, maybe it goes somewhere that really captures you. I also don't know that doing the King Arthur and that Guy Ritchie type of style, somehow it didn't come together so well when I looked at it.
I agree with that.
Actually read my mind. I was going to say the last Arthur Legend-based movie that I've seen was the one with Clive Owen and Keira Knightley.
That was the one where kind of off the fall off of Rome, where they were still trying to hold Hadrian's Wall, and
and that kind of put me off on any Arthur Legend movie. Kind of like, okay, I'm gonna wait. By the way, the one before that I've seen is the one with Sean Connery and what's his face? Come on, the Buddhist guy. I can't believe I forgot his name. The one from Jackal. The one from Pretty Woman. See? You forgot his name too.
Robert Redford.
No, Richard Gere.
Richard Gere.
I was gonna start throwing out names till you got there.
No, Sean Connery and Robert Redford, the Lancelot stupid Arthur movie.
See, oddly enough, what did a better kind of adaptation of the Arthurian legend was oddly enough weird sci-fi series Merlin.
I loved Merlin.
Merlin was actually a
I
decent
loved
series.
Merlin. Yeah.
And they actually had an actual good payoff and ending to the show.
Yeah, because they actually followed the legend, not
Love
the
it.
okay, we're gonna base this on something in like in real life. They went all more fantasy based, and it was cool. I liked it. Plus, what's his face was really good at it. Sam Neill. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the gentleman. Price,
Yes.
where have you seen the gentleman for the very first time? Have you seen it in the theater or like home video? Where?
I think that for some reason, it went under my radar when it went to the theater. I don't know why. What year is it from? Remind me.
2019.
2019. So basically, it kind of went below my radar. I didn't see it in the theater. And then I believe that during the international illness, that's when I was sitting at home looking for something to watch. And I think a friend of mine told me, hey, have you ever seen that Guy Ritchie movie? It's actually really good. And I kind of told him that, Guy Ritchie in the earlier days, I liked his stuff. Over time, it was kind of hit and miss. And he told me, listen, this is good, Guy Ritchie. This is like the kind that you're going to enjoy. So I said, okay, I'll give it a chance. And then I watched it, and I called him afterwards, and I said, you're right. I did like it.
Yeah. Sort of the same for me as well. I was like, another Guy Ritchie movie. And I haven't seen it in the theater. It came up. I think I've seen like a video review of it or something. It could have been even Critical Drinker that said it was really good and it's worth going back to it because it was as good as Lock, Stock. And I was like, really? That good? It's hard for me to think that Guy Ritchie, after his whole commercial phase with Sherlock Holmes and all that stuff, like really,
Uncle, and yeah,
yeah, and I thought, well, let's give it a shot, and literally came up on Netflix, and I was like, went to the missus. Let's watch it. She's not big into Guy Ritchie, like even Lock, Stock. And we watched it. She didn't like it, but what she did, she liked Charlie Hunnam's character for some reason. I don't know why. I don't like Hugh Grant. This is probably the only role that I like Hugh Grant in, for the reason that he is not playing Hugh Grant.
I think that with Hugh Grant,
he's like the bumbling. In any other movie, he's like the bumbling idiot. Where in Notting Hill, it works. In any other movie, it's kind of annoying.
Almost any movie that makes him a jerk, that he usually does good at that. I'm not saying that he is a jerk, but somehow the more kind of pompous, arrogant, and jerk you make him, the more it works. And this movie is just perfect.
Yeah. And one of the things that didn't come up, and I'll get to all my feelings. One of the things that came up with me in my research is the fact that he kind of said to the press, where I'm finally playing a character that is actually one of the people who haunted me while I was in my like down phase. And It's really fun to like go back and really lean into it, like being the asshole, the guy who chases everybody and gets all the down and grimy, dirty stuff and just brings it up to the public. Yeah, feelings.
Oh no, I was just gonna add when I first saw it, but
okay. I want you to add.
Well, I had actually not heard of this film at all. Not at all.
When it came out.
No, when it came out, had no idea. It popped up in my Netflix queue. It was like, I was very skeptical, just like, because I actually really, as you know, I really, really enjoyed Rock and Rolla.
Yeah.
And after I saw a couple of Guy Ritchie's kind of Hollywood bits. I did see the Arthur film. I thought it was all right. I've always been kind of a fan of Charlie Hunnam because I really liked Sons of Anarchy.
I like Sons of Anarchy, but I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of his, but I think that The Gentleman is maybe the best role he's done outside of Sons of Anarchy.
I will agree with that. Yeah. Well, he was okay in Pacific Rim. Other than that,
okay,
hit or miss. But no. But I saw that I was, well, it's Guy Ritchie, Charlie Hunnam. I'll give it a shot.
And it
Okay.
took.
No, because it felt like, okay, this is quintessential old school Guy Ritchie. This is him writing his own narrative and him really like getting into the weeds of the character work. Because you can tell that he wrote this and that he worked his ass off on it.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, before we dive into the movie, let's play our first game of the night. It is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off, and our guest, Price of Reason, will have to guess which movie this is. Price, this is all on you. Don't worry, chat is here to help you out. Of course, I haven't shared my screen.
In the interim, Paul, Green Street Hooligan, that's another great.
All right, here we go, Price.
Hold on one second.
Don't worry.
That'll do, Pig.
Is that Charlotte's Web or something?
That's not Charlotte's Web.
That'll do, Pig. That'll do.
Animal Farm?
It is Babe.
Oh, shoot. I was so... Basic Instinct.
Of course.
This is...
Just give me the number, and I'll be happy.
Hold on one second. I'll tell you right now.
As he searches through his DVD.
No, I'm not searching. I think it's number 6.
It is not number 6.
8. Number 8.
Not number 8. Paul is not in number 8. 7 is the last one, but it's called Fast and Furious Part 4. It's not part,
I get it.
part
Sorry.
4, but it's the 4th one.
It's
yeah.
just Fast and
Don't worry
Furious
about
when they did the rename of the entire franchise.
Yeah, it's called Fast and Furious. As the
that one. This one is Gran Torino or something like that.
Correct.
This one is.
A lot of people forgot this movie. It even exists.
It's the one where Sylvester's Grudge Match.
Grudge Match is correct.
This is probably Juno or something.
Juno is correct.
Juno starring Elliot Page.
Elliot Page.
This is a Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Correct.
This is
He's little.
Stuart Little.
Stuart Little is correct. Thanks for the big hint.
Is this like Cannonball Run or something?
It is Cannonball, the original Cannonball Run.
This looks like it's The Expendables.
It is the Expendables, and that is done. Awesome.
I'm ashamed. The Fast and Furious one, it threw me off because I was looking from far away, so I actually couldn't tell it was Paul Walker. I thought because it's like a shadow, I thought it was The Rock. So I'm like, is this the one after Paul Walker? And even then, I messed it up. I completely messed that one up.
The Rock is number 5. That's
right.
That's in Brazil, right?
Right, that's the one with the safe.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to say is that I actually knew the answer, but I messed that one up. But the rest, whatever I messed up, I messed up.
Well, you could always just ask me to zoom in, and it'll be popping in your head. But okay, cool. So into the movie. Oh, come on. Don't. At least it's better than last week.
Yes. There we go.
Okay, so the movie starts, and just like when Richie is on top of his game, he always tells the story non-linearly, right? He always goes back and forth in time, sort of like the way Quentin Tarantino does it, as he shows you kind of like maybe not the end, but closer to the end of the movie. And
also Fincher does this as well, and so does obviously, David Lynch.
Yes, But if you look at the body of work of Tarantino does this.
Tarantino is his that this is his oeuvre.
I'm talking about the sort of like the crime drama, or like we said last week with Snatch, is not really a crime drama, more like a dark comedy, kind of a crime dark comedy. In this one, you can tell it's much more of a crime drama. There's not a lot of humor, but there is a humorous character in it. But
there are several humorous several
humorous moments, but not as jokey and fun and crazy like Snatch.
I will say though, I think this film has the biggest laugh out loud moment for me in any Guy Ritchie film. When we get to it, I'll point it out.
Okay. And what Ritchie does with this particular movie is the fact that he sets up a situation where you're sort of on a mini cliffhanger with, is Mickey dead or not? And then it rolls back the clock with starting to tell us the story through the eyes of Fletcher and Raymond in Raymond's apartment. And it goes back and forth as Fletcher kind of suggests, well, I have this information and you will pay me $20 million or else I'm going to go to my boss and just get my $150,000 for the story, and you're going to be fucked forever. And this is how the story is told. So you get a little bit of back and forth between Raymond and Fletcher, and then it goes to the story up until the point where everything kind of turns with Mickey's assassination, and we get the reveal.
I will have to say though, what we had discussed previously too is this is Guy Ritchie kind of being a little self-indulgent. It's speaking more about the creation of films as well, because how he even mentions like Fletcher, no, have it set classic film grain, 235-1 ratio. No, it has to have the classic film grain on it. Real modern film.
Yeah, and this is when Fletcher starts to talk about his upcoming movie or whatever. This is where you kind of get the feeling of, oh, Ritchie is really leaning into the fact that he wants to talk about movies. He wants to express himself through old movies. And it's so crazy because at the end of the movie, Fletcher is trying to sell the script. And in the back, you've got the Man from Uncle's massive poster. It's like, look what I did before.
And was that guy supposed to be Harvey Weinstein? Maybe.
I don't think so. But what he does say, they do mention the fact that this is Miramax over on the UK side, rather than.
I didn't even know they had a UK office at this point, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think so either.
They didn't actually.
I didn't think so either. But he says like, okay, I'm going to go to America, meaning I'm probably going to go to Miramax, like US or
no. I'm going to shop it around in the States.
Yeah,
but at this point, Harvey Weinstein was already he had his own company called the
Weinstein Company. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So Miramax was no longer his company. So I wouldn't think necessarily that character has to be him, or has to be sort of alluding to him in this case, just because he was already disconnected from it. But that's just my opinion.
Oh no, that's fine. I just thought it was a big cheeky bald fucker. So
you never know, but I'm not 100% sure either.
Yeah.
And of course, we get the sort of the layout of the story where Fletcher kind of tells us the story of who Mickey is, how he got into prominence, how he got into the position of where he was, the sort of, he's a criminal, but he doesn't like to deal with violence, but he will be violent when it needs to, where it kind of depicts the fact that he uses a machete to deal justice when he was young. And this kind of harkens back to a lot of machete references in Guy Ritchie movies.
Yes, leading all the way back to Lock, Stock, yeah.
Yeah, Lock, Stock had a machete where the guy chopped, was it soap, right?
Yeah.
used the machete, and then of course later on it was used again. I had it written down somewhere. I'm going to tell you which movie it was. Of course, too many. Never mind. Anyway, there was use of machete in other Guy Ritchie movies, and then of course it established the fact that he is the ganja king of the UK. Later on, they explain how it actually works when he does that little tour with the guy who's supposed to buy his entire operation because he wants to retire, right?
Yep.
It's of course had to be a Jewish guy. I don't why did they make such a thing about him being Jewish? I didn't mind it. It didn't matter where he came from. But he seems more of I would describe him as a gay dude rather than a Jewish guy. But I like the actor.
He's from Succession. Jeremy Strong.
Jeremy Strong.
Yeah.
Jeremy Strong.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
What?
Had to take a pause, a chuckle there.
I mean, to be fair, I think that Guy Ritchie likes it when characters kind of poke fun at different backgrounds and ethnicities. There's that scene where the guy with the black C word or whatever it is, or this one guy that he says, "Oh, you like to eat duck," or whatever it is. I mean, I think that Guy Ritchie with these kind of mobster scenarios really likes to lean into these type of stereotypes because he probably envisions that mafia people like this would be speaking that way. And I can't completely say that's not true. Probably those guys would be talking that way, I would think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think even Tarantino, one of the criticisms that people had with him, even at Reservoir Dogs, why do these guys actually say the N-word? And he...
Well, because they aren't erudite fucking intellectuals here, you know?
Yeah, they're all bad guys. They're all criminals. So why wouldn't they speak openly and just say the slurs? Because they don't mean it in terms of racially thing. And like you said, Price, there's an actual scene with Colin Farrell and Bugsy Malone.
As Ernie, where one of the guys in Reese says, well, why are you not practicing, you black cunt? It's like, well, why is he calling me a black cunt? It's like he's not saying that all black people are cunts. He's referring to you because you're black and you are a cunt.
Yeah.
And even Ernie says, well, just because I'm black doesn't mean I'm a cunt. Like, no, you're getting it wrong. In fact, he's probably meaning it as a term of endearment. Because he's like, well, I know he in the ring, he's a gypsy. I don't call him a pikey cunt. Well, give it a try. He might like it.
Yeah. And that to me summarized the whole point of it all. They don't say these words to mean harm. They just describe who you are because that's who you are. And most of the time, it's just regular old bants, like regular old banter between guys who just guys in the gym or guys who just, the toddlers who are just, they're pretty tight knit group. They even had these not sports jackets, but those outfits.
Oh, the tracksuits, yeah. The entire wardrobe was really important in the fact that these were custom made. Then eventually they ended up having some London distributor end up making them and selling them.
Yeah, and even down to Colin Farrell's glasses, there were.
Which again reminds me of Bricktop's glasses. Reminds me of Casino.
Yeah, completely. And it's all about them being a tight knit group. You can tell. Okay, these are the toddlers and the coach. And when you see Raymond and Mickey, they both have immaculate suits that distinguishes them from any other person who has a suit. The only guy that was trying to imitate Mickey was the Jewish guy, the Jeremy Strong character who wanted to emulate him. Yeah. And Mickey in the table at the first scene together told him about the suit, which was immediately, puts you in a mood of, oh yeah, you're just trying to mirror me and you're not going to be able to do it. It's like Bob Iger buying other things to make it look like he was the guy who made it.
Guy who made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in so many ways, when this whole financial crisis like really fails out about Disney, do you know what they're going to end up saying? It's going to be like that old Bill Murray film.
Which
What about Bob?
Oh, what about Bob? Oh, terrible movie, dude. I like the introduction of Colin Farrell. So these guys he's waiting in line to get his fish and chips. These young lads coming in and just, swing by him, order up, and he's like, wait your turn.
It's like, what? It smells like piss in here.
Yeah. And to me, when they blow up on him, he's like, "You all right? Come on, let's go." And
Come on, come on. Say something. Cut me deep. Fuck you. Come on, you can do better than that.
And as soon as you understand who he is, they already know. They don't know who the coach is, but they've heard about the coach. And it sets him up as the character who's like, okay, he's an old guy. He knows how to fight. He doesn't want to do any gangster shit, even before he even tells you. And he's the one that is taking out these like disturbed youth and like making them through boxing, trying to sort them out and have their have a direction in life.
This is actually one of the most memorable scenes in the movie, I just want to say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, please.
The introduction scene is great. I think on the side, I think Colin Farrell, like the coach, is my favorite character. Besides Raymond, I think.
It's one of the best things that I've seen Colin Farrell do in a movie. I have an unpopular opinion about him. I think that as an actor, he's hit or miss, and I'll explain why. Movies that want him to do an American accent, a lot of times I can tell he's struggling because he can't really do it that great. And that's why I feel like it affects his performances. The performances that I usually think are better from him are the ones that he just talks like he does in this movie. Then he'll just focus on his acting, and you can tell he's actually a decent actor, and this role is perfect for him.
Yeah, a reason I 100% agree with you, because Banshees, In Bruges,
Yeah, I was gonna say
great films.
the movie
Right.
we covered in Bruges. I don't like Colin Farrell, and that was probably the reason. If he is in his native Irish accent, he's much more loose, and he does way better. And in this one, he's, like I said, my favorite character.
Oh man, you guys are a fan of Alexander?
And also, like Miami Vice, if you remember that Miami Vice movie, I didn't buy him as Crockett because he wasn't right for the role. You needed a guy that actually, Matthew McConaughey probably would have been a younger Matthew McConaughey probably would have been a better fit for that. I wouldn't have taken Colin Farrell to be Sonny.
Yeah, you need a suave kind of a character, and Colin
And
Farrell.
he should be more American. It should have been. He doesn't have that vibe, and every time he tries to do it, it doesn't quite work.
No, I agree with you 100%. Who oddly would have actually been better in that role, even though I don't like most of his work? Jake Gyllenhaal.
As
Maybe.
Sonny?
Yeah.
I would have liked Matthew McConaughey as Sonny more.
Yeah, if he was just like 5 years younger at the time. Like
Why? At the time that that the movie came out, he wasn't old, Matthew McConaughey. When they did Miami Vice, this is already like 15 years ago.
I know.
Jake
I was
Gyllenhaal.
thinking just more of like I'm thinking more of like Dazed and Confused. Matthew McConaughey would have been.
I don't know. I think that he could have pulled it off at the time. But Jake Gyllenhaal, for me, I have mixed feelings about him as well. He's a decent character actor, but there's always something kind of weird about him, and it doesn't always work for me. Anytime he tries to play a more straight, normal character, kind of, it doesn't seem to work. Only when it's something more eccentric or strange do I buy it more.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, again, with like Nightcrawler, he was excellent in, and obviously Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko, yeah, those are good. I mean, again, I don't hate him. It's not like I see a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and I get upset, but there's something that keeps me from really putting my appreciation on him to like the next level. I'm just kind of okay with him.
Yeah, don't watch the new Roadhouse.
It's
I did.
it's,
I watched it. I watched it and I reviewed it, and it was dumb. And he has nowhere near the charm and charisma that Patrick Swayze has.
yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's not right for the role at all, I think.
Paul Harley
See,
hitting us
what's
with the
interesting
hard
too
truth
is
18 years ago.
if they would not have called that film Roadhouse, I think it would have been okay.
Right, but once you start comparing it to the original, that
Exactly.
becomes the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
I'm
up.
very proud of my review for that. If anybody ever wants a good review for the Roadhouse on Amazon, have it on my channel.
Yeah, enjoy.
Oh. Also, everyone should go check out his reviews. His reviews are amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I know my reviews are good. Thank you.
No, I don't know if they're amazing, but I like them. I mean, at least that's the least I can say is that I enjoy them. But go on.
You know what? That's always good when you do a review and you actually watch your own stuff and you're like, I think I did a good job. That's that the stuff is there, and it's just up to the almighty algorithm to push you through.
Right.
Yeah. So as the story progresses, we get introduced to Mickey's wife. We get introduced to where she works and how really tough she really is. And then, of course, after the whole, there's that way that Mickey shows the buyer or the
Matthew, wow. Do I also get the hammer in there? Like, no.
Yeah.
You get the entire shed, and also let me show you the nails.
yeah
and the
and
entire plant underground.
he shows them the plant. They introduce how the way it actually works. He explains to him how it actually works, and they even show you the map of how it actually works and how elaborate everything is. And he explains, well, there are like 1,000 of these estates, but there's only 12 farms, so let them look if they're trying to make the connection, if and whatever. And then, of course, his place gets hit by the toddlers. The coach finds out that the toddlers did it, and he goes to Mickey's place. He talks to, I think
He goes to Raymond and goes, well, listen, my boys fucked up,
Yeah.
but I take responsibility for them. I understand that. I will help pay off their debt. We're going to get you everything back, but for the headache, I will owe you favors. I was like, well, first of all, you have to tell us how you knew that. He goes, I can do you one better.
Yeah.
And then we get to my big laugh out loud moment of the film, which will
Yes.
always be fuck.
It's
Get out of the boot, you fucking.
and one of the major things that we kind of glossed over is the fact that Raymond is sent to pick up this chick who was the daughter of this Lord guy, one of the guys who has a whole underground thing under his estate, as a favor to him. And Raymond you understand that Raymond is like an OCD guy. Well, if you didn't understand from the entire Fletcher connection, he's like putting it out there. I don't care if you have OCD, you need to do this. And it's like, I hate smackies, meaning I hate people who use heroin. And he goes out and this kid gets killed, and his body was actually introduced as he was making Fletcher the Wagyu steak. All gets connected. The guy falls from the window, gets killed, and he has that interaction with these street thugs. Again, one of them has a machete, but of course, Raymond has like a full automatic. So
one thing that threw me off about that, I'm like, at least have a prop piece on Charlie Hunnam while he was doing the running, because it really throws you off when you watch the scene back.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that sort of like got me, it's the whole runaround of, it's the thing that you kind of put out there. So that this boy, Aslan, which aptly named, he's like introduced, and then because he's going to get killed, he's introduced as a live guy who's not supposed to be in that apartment.
Well, who are you? And he introduces himself, because again, Raymond knew everyone else in the flat except for him.
Yeah, and then he gets killed, and they have that whole rigmarole of getting those phones, making sure the evidence kind of disappears because they already know that there's a YouTube video out there of them getting robbed. They don't need this on their hands. And of course, it's the sort of like the catalyst to their downfall, maybe, but they don't understand because it's always in the background because we're always led away from that throughout the movie.
I will say the only one who kind of keyed into it was Rosalind. When you like, wait, so some Russian kid, oh, that sounds bad.
Yeah. The moment for me, and this is like halfway through the movie, right? This whole idea of, oh, we kind of fucked up here. And like, I've dealt with this because we know he's dealt with this because we already seen his body.
And the freezer. Yeah.
And it goes back and forth because they introduce Dry Eye, which is not really the son of Lord George, sort of an employee, a cop.
He's an underling,
and whatever you want to call it. He has his own
in like the Triad organization. Uncle George would be the uncle at the time, the uncle. And so Dry Eye was his underling, and he was trying to undercut, trying to go right to Mickey to try to buy him out. And then again, Matthew McConaughey has some of his best monologues of his entire career outside of, I would say, True Detective. Time's a flat circle.
I guess so. I guess. By the way, do you know who Laura is? The actress.
No, I don't know who the actress is. No.
It is Sting's daughter.
Oh, that's Sting's daughter. Okay. I know Sting's daughter was in the film. I didn't know who she was, though. Okay.
Is she like a non-binary now or something? I don't even know.
Well, so whatever.
His name is Elliot, also like Elliot something.
Well, I would also say like Sting probably just did tantric exercises for so long he just birthed that himself. So
whatever it is, it's sort of I don't even know how they identify. It's so weird because IMDb is like so weary of people's genders and stuff. So I don't even know. She looks very mannish, regardless. But the whole point is like they go out and trying to take care of it. I love the fact that it's like Raymond is like, okay, let's go, and Laura's like, all right, let's go. She's like, I'm fed up with this.
Well, as they were in the flat too, she goes, well, who I work for is a very powerful man, and Laura's the one immediately names him, and the Russian guy goes, he's like, fuck.
And the whole point is, you can tell. Oh, I lost my point. Never mind. Okay, moving on. I was trying to get to something. Never mind.
I want to say the other thing too is that we kind of crossed over was the conversation between Dry Eye and Mickey and the conversation of the lion and the young dragon.
Yes, I want to get to that point, but it happens actually. Yeah, it happens actually close, and it's so strange because the whole point is Fletcher is telling Raymond about this conversation, and Raymond is clearly in the room while the conversation is happening. And
it doesn't operate like that. I know, but it's a little bit of showmanship.
And it always harkens back to the fact that like Fletcher was trying to make this into a movie rather than just a full-on story for the, I don't know, the rag that he was trying to sell it to.
I will have to say, though,
he doesn't want to sell it to his original boss.
I will say, though, no, anytime I'm in any kind of business negotiation, though, from here on out, though, at a business dinner, Unlike Salt and Pepper, that conversation is not on the table.
Yeah.
I am using that line.
Great line. It's a great line. And I love the fact that he's telling him this sort of a Chinese tale, but he's not the Chinese guy, obviously. But it ends so with like, okay, so the line said, fuck off, which is just...
And the young dragon didn't understand fuck off.
This is what makes this movie fun, right? It's not a comedy like Snatch, but it makes the whole movie kind of like have these sort of a down moments where you can just chuckle a little bit. And it just, the movie keeps going. It doesn't just stay. It just keeps moving.
Well, I love the fact that even
the story.
It wasn't even it was Rosalind who brought up the fact that when watching the robbery video, like, why are you guys sitting around watching fight porn?
Yeah.
And even Coach said later, like, what did you put it up on YouTube? Take down that fight porn.
Yeah. And what reminded me when you said you liked the whole fuck moment, where he's like, I need to breathe. I need my asthma inhaler. And Coach kind of like, okay, take this. And he kind of slaps him twice, like, shake it off, dude. Shake it off. He gives him the inhaler. He inhales. And apparently he's like, okay, this guy is not going to go anywhere. He slices his legs out.
No, so he can stand. That's the only reason why he cut his, because otherwise they'd have to hold him up. So then he just decided to run. And he runs over the edge, gets hit by a train, and he goes, remember when Raymond's talking to Mickey, they're like, well, we better buy you some parachutes because this is becoming a habit.
And that line was just beautiful because it's like shows you that progression of stuff that happened to Raymond, and Raymond's like, oh, screw this. This is not happening to me again. That line was beautiful by Mickey. It's just gorgeous.
Also, they're like some of the colloquialisms in there are very omnipresent when it comes to anything Guy Ritchie, especially when it comes to his more like gangster films. Like one of the big ones I love so much was when Raymond and Bunny are leaving. He goes, keep the skids in school for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Before the fight. And then and also when they're in there, when he goes, see it, I do a half bash.
Yeah. When he does his
you
roll.
couldn't lift a wheel of cheese, you cunt.
At that moment was that moment of realization where those rocker guys understand, oh, these guys actually do mean business. They can't even speak while Raymond is talking to them, right?
Well, because he actually like, sit.
Yeah.
Sit.
Right. I want to talk about something that we kind of didn't really touch is Fletcher's boss, right?
Yes.
It's a young and
Wait. I can't have it playing like this. Hold on. I want to get to a specific point.
Big Dave.
Now, Big Dave, the kind of is half of the reason why this entire thing is happening, because they do explain why Big Dave has that sort of a grudge between him and Mickey. So Big Dave is the owner of this newspaper. This newspaper is a tabloid, right? Not only that, a vicious tabloid, like almost any UK-based British tabloid.
Yeah.
And he goes, but in fact, he wants to be accepted. He wants to be sort of like treated like a lord or a lady, not a lady, but a lord or sort of a landowner. Oh, look at this. A refill. So a lord or a lady, and
hey, waitress.
Oh,
Damn
don't listens to the show. Don't call her that. And so he goes to this party, and Mickey has these dealings with all these lords and ladies because we understand that he uses them and they benefit off of Mickey's entire endeavor of this marijuana fields. And he gives them the hand to shake it because they are being introduced. And Mickey knows exactly who Big Dave.
Big Dave.
Because
Big Dave,
somebody completely different.
Rest in peace.
Mike.
But no,
Big
so
Dave.
for Big Dave, the reason why he snubbed him was because Big Dave already did a tabloid article fucking over one of his landowners that got him into a big kerfuffle that really hurt his product. So
the gay lord with the butler.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
I really like that scene, and it's interesting because I think that one of them was saying, because of this stupid handshake, he would do all of that. And the thing is that I actually believe that in that situation, with him humiliating him that way, he probably would act that way. Meaning, it seems childish and petty, but he explains to him that in front of all these important people that he treats them that way, it's considered a major humiliation, and that's enough for him to have incentive to do something.
Exactly.
100%. Yep.
I want to get to that point, of course. Never mind. To me, is the fact that it's like this is sort of like I said, the sort of like the proverbial snowball effect that got started and ended up with Fletcher having this story to cover. And he thinks he's like, oh, I'm going to be this amazing guy. I'm going to go undercover. And as he goes undercover, he finds out a few things while filming Raymond, filming Mickey. And then he comes up with Dry Eye and Matthew. And that is
the conversation, yeah.
And the conversation that leads up to Mickey. I think does it lead up to Mickey going to Lord George? Or was it after? No, after Fuck. After they found out about Fuck, of the fact that there is a connection between the Chinese Bob and the information that led to the toddlers breaking in, Mickey goes straight into Lord George. And this to me is that sort of harkens back to that conversation about the lion and not the young dragon, but the old dragon having a conversation. And as a side note, Mickey's guys are already in the heroin factory burning it to the ground.
Yeah. And they've already poisoned him.
And it already poisoned Lord George. And he was just talking to him, waiting for the sort of the poison to actually activate. And when it does activate, he goes into like this insane gangster mode where we understand. Yeah.
As an aside, though, I do have to take a pause there. The vomit situation, when it came to this scene in particular, I don't know why, but it made me laugh out loud the first time I saw it. Do you know what it reminded me of?
I think it's meant to do that. It's kind of a very animated vomit.
Yeah, it is. It is so much. It's supposed to be that way. But you know, the first thing that reminded me of?
Because we're best friends, I know exactly what you mean, but go ahead.
Team America.
Team America World Police.
Bingo, bango.
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that. You know where my head is going with this? You can say where my head is going. Feelings. You know me. Where was my head when I saw that vomit? Stand By Me.
Oh,
with the food eating competition.
Eating contest. Yeah. Now, I know why you went with Team America World Police, because I know how much you love that movie. And Price, I didn't know, but thank God for that.
I'm also a big fan of Team America World Police. I like Stand By Me too, but Team America World Police is epic.
I was just going over there, just how over the top it was out of nowhere.
Yes, I know exactly. That's why I thought that's where you were going to go, and this is where
It does fit. That's fair.
it does fit. Don't let me ruin your surprise. Trust me, I know where your head was at. But the fact that it is sort of half CGI'd kind of thing. I went back and watched it like twice over to make sure. The vomit is CGI'd, but when it lands, I don't know how they did it, was practical. How they married the two with a low budget, I don't know.
What's so funny is if you've ever seen the show What We Do in the Shadows, they do this any single time one of the vampires eats human food because they can't digest it. So as soon as they eat it and try to swallow it, they just vomit profusely, and it's done the exact same way, and it's done brilliantly every single time.
But I like the fact that when they do that sort of like when Mickey talks to Lord George about the fact that Mickey's product doesn't kill people.
Yeah.
And Lord George's product does, we go sort of like there's a three-way going on as we see three separate scenes of one, the burning down of Lord George's heroin lab, and the third scene is Laura
ODing.
caving in, and maybe perhaps
ODing. No, she's dead. She is dead.
There's no confirmation, but that her father cries, so I'm guessing
she's dead. She
and so that's sort of like that third angle that really presses on the fact that Mickey is, above all, really hates heroin, like the heroin trade, but he won't step on Lord George's toes where he feels like Lord George is the guy that kind of, orchestrated this whole thing because he's the mob boss, he's the father, he controls his men.
Yeah, because
Dry Eye.
Because Pahuk works for Dry Eye, and Dry Eye works for Lord George. That's the string of command. So he automatically just assumes that Lord George was the one behind it.
Yeah. And when, like I said, that missing link that was missing for Mickey and Raymond, to be honest, is this conversation where we see it unravel through, like at the moment it's introduced. Fletcher says that they were talking in Cantonese. We don't hear Cantonese, obviously, because, it's a...
Because they do the whole read-along setup.
Yeah.
And at one point in time, I love the fact that Fletcher even says, well, no, I know his Cantonese is shit, but I think this might be a Google Translate error.
Yeah, it's a Google Translate error. I was like, that's a little bit on the nose there, but okay. But what I wanted to touch upon is Price. Is Fletcher gay? Like, real gay? Or was he playing half gay?
Okay, it's one out of two things. In order to seem more unassuming, maybe he takes on that persona of seeming a bit more sensitive than maybe he really is. That's one option. Or maybe he is. I mean, he certainly, Jeremy Strong, I've seen him in different performances. He certainly makes an effort in this performance to act in a way that is, I mean...
No. I don't mean Matthew, the Jewish billionaire. I mean Fletcher, Hugh Grant. Because there are...
I apologize. I thought that character was acting gay. Oh, the Fletcher one? I'll tell you what. There's moments that it crosses my mind because he seems a little playful with Charlie Hunnam, like he's like almost making passes at him, but I don't know if he's just kind of has a sort of flamboyant personality, but he's just a kind of Hollywood, not Hollywood, but he's that kind of, I don't know how to explain it. He's a showman. He likes to put on a show. That's one option. And the other option is he is gay. That wouldn't surprise me if he's supposed to be.
I'm thinking it's the latter because I think it's more of just, as we talked about this backstage before he joined us, for reason. as Meth mentioned before when we reviewed Rock and Rolla, Meth thought that Rock and Rolla was kind of the prototype that the Gentleman became, and in so many ways, they utilize kind of the same jokes and kind of character archetypes. So in a way, Handsome Bob kind of became Fletcher. And in a way, he even utilizes the same line when Raymond says, "Well, you have to go. It's time for me to go to bed." And Fletcher says, "Well, can I join you?
Yeah.
If not, I'll be outside purring and wanking."
Yeah,
At the door, scratching and wanking, yeah.
And it is, I think it's kept ambiguous because they were trying to sort of like play the angle, like you said, Price, sort of like play the angle of the Hollywood type or the Hollywood, not really type, but wannabe, that you're sort of like playing the field of maybe trying to have a little bit of a either gay ops or gay joke kind of a thing.
Be playful, kind of that kind of playful vibe. But
exactly.
If I brought it up, the other guy, the reason you said it because that guy really seemed like he was the Jewish businessman.
Yeah.
Matthew,
Is it defined? Do they explain that he's gay, or he just really acts that way?
They never.
No, he is married, but obviously it could be again. Well, as the same thing in Rock and Rolla, where the accountant was married to the lawyer, and it was a faux relationship. So it could be the same thing.
It's hard for me to say. Yeah. So sorry I answered this guy. Yeah. I confused the names of the. I don't know why. The second you said it, I was thinking about the other character. But I know
it was on screen at the time. It's fine.
It's perfectly understandable because I think Matthew is really gay. He's not like overtly gay. He has, I want to say, mannerisms, the things that your typical, what you would expect a gay guy to, I don't know, talk or like a tone of voice or the way he carries himself.
Both of these characters have flamboyant moments, but in neither case do they actually spell it out or say it. It's just something that's left ambiguous in actually both characters.
Yeah, which is perfectly fine because their character is supposed to be ambiguous because they were trying to play the field in all manner of ways. Fletcher is trying to play the field with Raymond because he wants the 20 million. So is he playing to his sort of like he's trying to play to his OCD nature and really sort of poke fun at him or give him a sort of a friendly jab or banter, where Matthew uses it to play with people. He plays with Dry Eye when he talks to him in this conversation. When there's a moment where he gets up from his chair and whispers in his ear, but he whispers not sweet nothings, but real tangible information, right? That we needed to know.
So would it be in a way that Fletcher and Matthew are kind of feigning that kind of weakness, perceived weakness in a way in order to make them seem unassuming?
Sort of, I think.
So they could be predators amongst other predators.
And that's why I ask, do you think he's really gay or is it sort of a game that they play? And everyone around, all of them play some sort of a game. Even Mickey and Raymond play some sort of a game. Even Raymond plays it with Fletcher. Mickey does it with Lord George, with Dry Eye, with everyone he meets in order to make sure he gets his way. The only person he doesn't play with
Rosalind.
Is Rosalind.
Yeah.
Is Rosalind. Now, we're going to not stop here, but I want to acknowledge Scott Westbrook with a membership. Thank you, sir. That helps me tremendously, making sure this channel still lives. I don't make too much money off of it. It's just for fun. Any and all cash that is generated from this channel actually go back into the channel to either buy gear, pay for the software, or anything else. It's all in good. It's all in good fun. But what I wanted to say is, again, something that was laid down not really in the first act, because I don't think this movie has like 1, 2, 3 acts. Not really, because
It does in a way, but
it's all mixed and matched because it's not linear. It's really hard to pin down acts.
what's so odd is this could be a Tarantino film very easily if there would just be black and white cuts in between the segments.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. But I wanted to talk about the fact that the memento that Matthew gives Mickey, that golden gun.
A paperweight. It's funny you mention that because a paperweight can be anything as long as it weighs enough.
And Dry Eye actually mentions that, not her. And it's sort of a funny thing because when Mickey opens up the thing and he says, well, that's interesting because
He gave
here
you a
in the
gun.
UK,
It's 5 years. Well, it's
Yeah.
and it's like, what's that? And it's a little family with 6 little bullet babies. Little children, yeah.
Of course. And then Dry Eye's like, no, that's a paperweight. It's like, and Rosalind's like, do you want to see how good this paperweight really is? Now, the guy she shoots didn't actually die, really. It hit his forehead, and it did cause him a little bit of a bleed, but I don't think it actually penetrated.
It seems to have, because
I know the second guy seems to fall like he's dead, I think.
Yeah, the second guy did too. So
Okay. The whole point is
it's a Derringer. It can kill you.
Yeah, well, I prefer to think that no. But the fact that Rosalind talks on the phone, Mickey knows the jig is up, and of course that's where the first Russian mobster gets killed. But we know it's the Russian mobster yet.
Yes, and even Raymond doesn't know because he's like, "Who the hell was that guy?" Because they have no idea because they don't even know the other third party that's been part of this entire tale.
And to be absolutely fair, this is really close to the end of the movie, so a lot of things get wrapped up really at the very end of the movie. It kind of, if you look at it from the start to finish, it actually it starts really slow, laying down foundation of information that you need to know. And then it ramps up a little bit higher and a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And at the end, it's sort of it gets close to not really the smash cuts that you had in Snatch, but really close pieces of action going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Sort of like you ramp up the entire thing, get to a crescendo, and at the end, the winners are, we don't know, right?
Yeah.
Because we understand, well, Mickey's alive, and Raymond's alive, and Fletcher really can't do anything because...
Well, Fletcher's caught. Well, at the very end of the film...
Yeah, Fletcher caught by Raymond.
We really don't know at the end, too. Is the oligarch going to keep coming after Mickey and Raymond?
Yeah. We don't actually know. It's sort of laid down... And it's sort of weird because even Fletcher says when you don't see Mickey, the producer or the Miramax guy says, why don't we see if he's alive or not? And
we're setting up for a sequel, baby.
Which is,
kind of the same thing that happened with Rock and Rolla in a little bit.
Exactly. It harkens back to Rock and Rolla. Exactly. All right. We're going to do a stop right here before we wrap everything up with a nice little tight bow. We are going to play the second game of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? Ba-bam. First couple of dingies is The Ring, the American Ring, or Dead Poet Society. Chat participation is most welcome. Give us your choice. Just these two in a vacuum. Price,
I think Dead Poet Society I liked better.
Reason? Besides just liking it better? No reason? Just
The Ring is more of a horror movie, isn't it? I barely
Yes.
remember it. I remember
Yes.
seeing it, and I struggle. I know that I have seen it many years ago, and I know it's a horror movie, but I can't remember anything memorable about it. At least Dead Poet Society had Robin Williams in sort of a memorable role, so that for me already gets the advantage.
yeah. To me is Oh Captain, My Captain.
Yep, my captain.
And to be perfectly honest, I watched both The Ring and Ringu, which is the Japanese
The actual original film, which is way better.
I totally prefer the original. It has a different vibe to it. It's less Americanized, and it's better. It's much more let's say downsized. Even though The Ring is let's just say this, it's very close to the original, which normally you don't get with an adaptation, but it has a lot of American elements in there where I rather just read the subtitles at the end of the day. Paul Harley said it's spooky season, it's The Ring.
Hey, Paul, it's not spoopy season yet, okay?
All right. I haven't seen Messiah of Evil.
Fun movie.
I haven't seen that either.
Perfect. Weekend at Bernie's or John Wick, the original John Wick.
I like
F?
John Wick better. Weekend at Bernie's, it's a good meme, but it's not such a great movie in my opinion.
Nah, it's fun for a laugh, like once or twice, and after it gets so old. Especially
Right, the premise wears thin very quickly, yet the movie continues, and I still can't believe they had a sequel to this movie.
Yeah. We get at Bernie's too. It's like really, and also at that point in time, wouldn't he be just be a rotten corpse at that point?
Yeah,
in
it's
time?
unbelievable that they just said, fuck it, we'll
Fuck
do
it,
Weekend at
whatever.
Bernie's too.
And also they're like, Meth, you know what? They keep asking him back. I'm thinking I'm back.
I'm not picking Weekend at Biden's over John Wick. It is not happening. It's Wick. Speaking of a Guy Ritchie movie, Sherlock Holmes or Stalingrad.
I want to take Sherlock Holmes. I don't think I've seen Stalingrad, to be honest with you.
Have you seen Stalingrad, Oma Phoenix? Because I can re-roll.
It's a tough watch.
I've seen it, sadly.
It is not a good. Well, to say you're not going to have a good time watching it.
Okay, I'm going to say this, Price. I'm not going to press I haven't seen this one for a very good reason that I would never ask you to go and watch this movie ever.
Ever, yeah.
I would prefer watching Sherlock Holmes.
I would like if there was going to be any kind of interpretation of Stalingrad. I would rather watch Enemy at the Gates any day of the week.
I mean, Sherlock Holmes was serviceable enough. I'm not saying it's the best thing that ever happened, but I looked at it. I didn't hate it. It was fine for whatever it was, and I'm okay with it.
And it's so weird, oh my feelings, that you brought Enemy at the Gates. If you marry these two movies together,
That is Enemy at the Gates. Yeah.
It makes the story about
Because honestly, that wasn't Jude Law in Enemy at the Gates too.
Yeah. Hugh. Oh, good. This is perfect. About the boy or Doctor Strangelove?
So easy.
Is there any question?
I don't think so.
Price?
About the boy or Doctor Strangelove? I guess I like Doctor Strangelove better.
Yeah,
It's Kubrick and versus a bumbling Hugh Grant. No.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean-
I want to say something that as opposed to most people that think that Doctor Strangelove is the best thing that ever happened, I'm just okay with that movie, but it seems better than the silly whatever you showed with Hugh Grant. And it, like you said, it's Kubrick and a classic, so I'm going with it. But I just want to say that it's still not my favorite movie. I just think it's all right.
Oh yeah, no.
It's totally fine. Like, I'm not
We're going
like
by just the criteria of the two movies that are present. That's all.
Yeah,
Where it's
that's the whole point.
One's the option.
I'm not like a Doctor Strangelove fanatic. I like the movie, but I don't think it's the Kubrick's masterpiece.
Exactly.
Some people say it is.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. Right. I haven't seen Balto.
I don't even know what Balto is. So
Whatever. Okay. Mr. Deeds or Phantom of the Opera. This is the 2004 version. I think there's a 87.
you know what? I don't care how many versions that Phantom of the Opera has. I'm going with Mr. Deeds on this one. Phantom of
Okay.
the Opera. I've seen it on Broadway years ago as the thing. I've seen the movie. I guess some people like it. They like the songs. They like whatever. And for me, it's just okay. I at least Mr. Deeds. I think that was when Adam Sandler actually was kind of funny in his own way with his own brand of humor. It's around the time where he made movies that were amongst his better movies. So I'm going to accept Mr. Deeds as the better option.
All right. Feelings?
I wholeheartedly agree. I think Family Opera is outrageously overrated. It's not even that great of a musical, to be honest.
It's just
You
a
know
bunch of
me.
normies that decided, like, look how great this is, and they all agreed with each other, and then it became a thing. But usually when that happens, I kind of take a step back, because if you really look at it, there's something fishy about it.
I can't stand musicals. Not even like movie. It's like movie musical is just not. for
Yeah,
me.
no. If I'm sitting like in the theater setting and it's a musical, at least I know what I signed up for. I don't do that often, but on special occasions, maybe I'll accept that that's what I signed up for. When I'm sitting down to watch a movie, I don't want the actors to sing to each other. There's a few movies in the world that I can accept. Maybe like if Team America, World Police. Well, that's not really a musical. South Park, the animated movie, I can accept because the songs are funny.
Yeah.
Grease is sort of a classic. I can accept that.
Yeah.
But with the exception of a few movies like that, most musicals. Sorry.
To be fair, the other one is Cannibal the Musical, obviously.
Yeah, but Cannibal the Musical is very much in line of South Park.
Right. It's in the line of South Park.
It was what they originally created. I mean, come on.
Right. I mean, it was their original creation. It's sort of like a lo-fi version of what they
Yeah,
wanted to do with
exactly.
South Park later. But when it comes to musicals, for the most part, they annoy me, and I don't like seeing actors sing to each other. Their dialogue, that really, really annoys me.
All right, last
Oh,
one.
I'm saying
Oh.
the other one, the only other musical that I do like, obviously, is Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, that one I can accept. I can accept that
Yeah.
one. There's a few that kind of, get away with it, but 98% of those musicals are crap, and once in a while you can find one that's semi-legitimate. But Star Trek, I don't care if you thought the motion picture is good or not, it totally blows I Know What You Did Last Summer out of the water.
Feelings?
I
You're not a Star Trek fan. I know that.
am not a Star Trek fan, and you made me suffer through in a whole month of those.
Come on, the motion picture. You're gonna let this teeny crap horror bullshit movie?
It's all right. The only thing I like about I Know What You Did Last Summer is it created so many. It helped redefine late '90s horror cliches that helped redefine like later comedies and other tropes.
Maybe it led to parodies that came later, but that's still I can't justify it as a movie. As a movie that stands on its own. You know what? And I don't even give a shit about the parodies. Star Trek, that's a real movie. I don't even care that some people don't like the first movie out of the motion pictures. I think this is a good movie, and I've always liked it.
No, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. It's a cohesive narrative that actually functions properly. If you don't actually if you were to put the original film actually under a magnifying glass and try to review it shot by shot, it actually makes cohesive sense. Yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer, especially any of the sequels. No, none of it makes any sense.
dumb for
Even-
me. But I mean, again, if you like it, I don't want to take that away from you. I just
No, it's fine.
I love our
The only reason why I know What You Did Last Summer is really so infamously known is because of the tropes of it. More specifically, because Meth,
no,
the scary movie franchise had a lot of tropes that utilize Scream.
Yes.
But the most memorable ones that you think are attributed to Scream are actually from I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes, I know. Paul has a great thing. It's like he said Trek, and he said also I hate Trek as well as feelings.
Yeah.
It's Star Trek the motion picture, even though it's not the best Trek
No,
movie.
Well, it's obvious they searched for Spock.
Fuck you. Also, to be fair, I kind of agree with Gary when Gary said that this is the most Trekky of all of the Trek films because it had a Star Trek original series story. Just the execution was not like
All
the
the way
best. By the way, Robert Meyer Burnett, who was on this show, said that Star Trek the Motion Picture is his favorite, even though he knows like Wrath of Khan is like the best.
Yeah.
This is his favorite, which is, it
Okay,
I
we're
like
doing
it.
one more.
when he blew me away when he said that.
Oh,
But,
we
but
have to do
wait,
this
why
one
did you
because-
stop? Why did you stop the thing? What about? Weren't we doing the champion thing?
What champion thing?
You stopped. What we were in the middle of our, or is Star Trek the winner?
Star Trek was the winner.
Oh, it's another one.
Oh, okay.
We have to do this last one.
I was the deciding voice.
For
What,
me,
you
Meth. On
wanna
this one,
do
we have
this?
to do this last one. This last one, just for me.
You really want to do this?
Yes.
Fine. Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Hoosiers.
I will
I watched
fight
Hoosiers.
anyone who has not seen Hoosiers.
I watched Hoosiers once.
I've seen it
Still
once. I've seen it once, and honestly, I like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 a whole lot better than 2. But and the Hoosiers movie I think is just okay. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever you guys want. I don't really care what you decide in this case.
Paul Hart is like Hoosiers.
Paul,
Done deal.
as a boy who grew up in fucking Indiana, obviously it has to be Hoosiers. I saw Hoosiers. I'm like, no, we're doing this one.
I really didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I would give it to Hoosiers because just for the mere fact that I want to rewatch after I've probably watched this on VHS when I was 11 or 12, something like that. It just
The only thing I
came
will
on.
give to Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the fact that they gave a good send-off to several characters. That was about it. Anything about like when they did the story of Ego, the Living Planet, Matthew, I'm a comic book guy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why did you fuck up the story so bad? Why? Why?
You really can't, like with you, if it's not like comic book centric, you're off the rails. I know you. You're like, Meth, why did they do this? Why did they fuck up my
That's why I
lore?"
love Deadpool vs. Wolverine, because I'm like, oh, so they did everything that I wanted. Thank you, Ryan Reynolds. You get it.
Yeah, he just did what he was supposed to do, which was like get all the Fox X-Men, not the Fox X-Men, but the Fox Marvel universe and displayed it, made fun of it, made jokes about it, and then wheeled it back and was like, you know what?
Well, it
I
even
can
made
do
fun of
that.
like
I can do that and
artists.
tie it in with MCU. It won't make any sense in terms of story if you look at the story, but while you're having this adventure, you're having fun.
Well, that and also there are also side narratives and little like Easter eggs hidden everywhere. Liefeld, making fun of Liefeld, I'm like, Ryan Reynolds.
Who ever heard of John Byrne if you're not a comic book guy?
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Fair.
Who knew there's a brown Wolverine suit? It made so many search tags on like for at least 3 weeks. Who the fuck is John Byrne? Why is it brown? Blah, 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 blah. And you see all these little videos that were made like 6-7 years ago pop up with
The
Byrne
comic
Wolverine
comic
brown
book
suit.
accurate version of Wolverine. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's a tiny little fucker.
Yeah.
Like, he's 5'3".
All right, cool. Back to the story. Again, we went sort of back and forth, but I want to touch upon sort of like the ending. We'll not really the ending, but we'll touch upon certain points, just giving us when. This is not this point. This point comes a little bit later, but I wanted to get this specific shot of Mickey Mickey's entire motivation in terms of the entire story, and this is what kind of dawns on us right at the end, before he gets abducted by the Russians. He talks to Matthew and he says, I don't really care about the money. The money doesn't mean anything to me, because they're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars at the end of the day, right? This is a phenomenal amount of money. Like, even Fletcher talked about 20 million. $20 million can set everyone up for life without ever having to work ever again.
Remember too, it's not dollars.
What? You're muffled.
It's not dollars, it's pounds.
Pounds. Sorry.
So it's even exponentially more money.
So it's $25 million or almost 30. Never mind.
Well, they were talking about like 400 million pounds. You're talking about like $600 million.
Yeah. The whole point is the fact that 400 million, or when Matthew's like driving down the price, came up to about what, 120?
No,
right?
he said no. It's 130 million. Well, after that, well, the net loss on GDP, you're looking at your operational costs about overall 130 million. Well,
Yeah.
now I have to tell you.
Exactly. And that's where kind of Mickey turns on him. But that whole point of even 130 million, even if he would have paid that price instead of 400 million pounds, it's still a sort of a fuck you money, because we're talking about cash. It's not like it's 130 million in stock. No. It's cash. It will set you up forever. You can retire, not think about criminalities, not thinking about the business or whatever. And Mickey says it's not about the money. It's the fact that Dry Eye messed with my wife. So it's not about
Touched my
he
wife.
touched my wife. And this is something that came up. If you go back to the beginning, it kind of sets up at the beginning where he is devoted to his wife. Even if she's not she's not ladylike. She's very much like a very independent woman. She even says to one of her employees, this is a women's safe space, right? Not in so many words, this is a woman's place. This is not a man's place, even though there is a man working there. But it's very female centric, and even Mickey's not supposed to be in her office, like talking to the help. It's sort of a separate world for her to be in.
To be fair, he was having the other guy test out his new strain of White Widow. It was like, well, he's supposed to be working downstairs, not having you up here literally blowing his brains.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a fantastic line. But Mickey's devotion to his wife is very palpable from the very, very beginning. The fact that he does everything that he does so that they will not really be in this criminal world. He wants to have she has a legit business, right? She has upper clientele. To be honest, her garage is named THC Motors, which is, kind of a funny thing because THC is the active ingredient in marijuana. But that's the whole thing that kind of harkens to the criminal endeavor, where the garage or the shop that they have is completely legit. She runs it as a legit thing. She even says to Dry Eye when he gives her this like entire inventory of rims and spare parts. It's like, this cannot fit in a 20-liter container. This has to be like a 40, not a 40-liter, but
a full storage shipping
full
container.
storage. And she's like, you didn't, pay for a regular storage. This is an extra because it's too much.
Because she asked, well, how much is it going to cost me? Meaning with the husband. No. How much is this going to cost me?
Yeah, sort of like she knows the jig is up. She is really on the top of her game, because when Mickey tells her things, she kind of sees right through him and asks for the real thing, same as she does to Dry Eye, but much more mellow because she understands his entire endeavor. Now,
Well, same thing when in the office later, when Dry Eye and her and his two associates get there, when she has the whole piece, is like, well, I'll put one round in his head, and that'll be the end to him if he steps one step closer. So you leave.
yep.
Her only mistake was telling Dry Eye that it only contained 2 bullets.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought. It's like, oh, no. You made a mistake. And he's gonna, like, Dry Eye is smart enough. Dry Eye has the Lord George assassinated because Lord George kind of expected his main, like, bodyguard to not turn on him, and he turned on him. And
Well, then also at Lord George's funeral, the uncle, the actual bigger head at the triad, just went, yeah, by the way, kill him. Kill Mickey. It's fine.
Yeah.
For what he did to George, it's fine.
yeah, because they blamed it on Mickey, of course. And we're going back to the coach because coach helped with helped with other things. And the third thing that he's being asked to do is tighten up loose ends. And one of the loose ends is Big Dave. So what they do is they kidnap Big Dave. And
All I gotta say is, I don't care what kind of drugs you are on. There is no way.
now, did he or did he not get the inspiration from Black Mirror? Because the first episode of Black Mirror
That's a
was
good
way
question.
before this.
That's a good question.
And I was like, did they use that sort of the same angle as Black Mirror? The first ever episode, if you've not seen it, it involves a pig screwing. Let's say that.
That or
Ruining.
the other tabloid story at the time. Remember, like one of some duke in England for a fraternity prank was found having sex with a pig.
Yeah, but that was way before this movie.
Yeah, I know, but which one was the inspiration? That's what
Oh, I have no idea. You know what? Maybe it's because my bias is I went to like, oh, this is like it's like a Black Mirror reference. Did Guy Ritchie do any Black Mirror episodes as a director?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I can check later. Guys in the chat, if you know, let us know which one it is, which is going to be interesting if it's the Mackie episode, but never mind. Okay. So the coach has his toddlers kidnap Big Dave. They give him a drug.
By the way, I love the bodyguard. He knows karate. Sorry, boss. I was only a blue belt.
I was only a blue belt, which is just perfect. Where was I? So they wrap up the whole Dave story. Now it's time to wrap up the Matthew story. And if at any sort of point...
Well, I was going to say,
that Mickey is...
the end of the Big Dave story was when when Coach is showing Raymond the footage, he goes, oh, that's awful. And Coach just goes, can't unsee it when you see it, can you?
Yeah, exactly. And this is where kind of Coach tells Raymond, look, I did you like 3 favors. I'm out. Like 3 strikes and I'm out. Kind of harkens back to a baseball.
I'm not a gangster.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not a gangster. I don't want to do this. I'm out. And Raymond kind of gives him the nod. But then and this is the same situation where Coach goes out, but he sees the 2 assassins coming in. Because like I said, the sort of timeline is weird with this one. And Raymond is like, not Raymond, but Coach is like, okay, this is going to go down. I'm going to have to intervene. And he kind of kills the two assassins that were going after Raymond. Raymond goes out, sees the two guys dead, and
Coach is like, hey.
Coach is like, gives him the forefinger.
Which is so odd too, because originally Coach's character was supposed to have 4 fingers.
That's what I was gonna say. This is where Snatch and this movie come
on
ahead, because he was supposed
Frankie
to have 4
Fourfingers.
fingers, like Frankie Fourfingers.
Yep.
Which you don't know the name of Coach. Maybe he was supposed to be Frankie
all along,
but not Frankie Fourfingers. Yeah. But maybe they kind of said, we'll nix that idea because it's too much on the nose for Frankie Fourfingers.
Well, that and too much like out of Frankie Fourfingers' character line too, where he's helping the youth. That's not Frankie.
Yeah, that's not Frankie Fourfingers. But of course, after this whole reveal, again, this is where we kind of get the idea of where Raymond kind of flips on Fletcher. And you see that whole montage of, okay, Fletcher is the guy who's taking the pictures of everybody. He took the pictures of Aslan, and he fed that information to Raymond. That's a sort of a point where Raymond wasn't on the nose, because Raymond was involved with the whole action. He wasn't there to kind of tail Fletcher.
Yeah, well, because Raymond was saying like, "Well, you're fucking right, proper, smart cunt, aren't you, Fletcher?"
Yeah.
Thing is, you weren't smart enough to realize you were being tailed the whole time.
Exactly, and this is the point where Fletcher kind of fills in the dots, or fills in the points where either Raymond couldn't do because he was busy doing something else, or wasn't able to do. That's where it fills in the fact that Matthew was in line with Dry Eye rather than Lord George, and that kind of fills in that block of information that was missing from Raymond and Mickey. And once they knew about it, that's where they kind of set up their whole plan of bringing down Dry Eye, or not bringing down Dry Eye, but bringing down Matthew and making him pay for his costly mistake.
Yes. And also he has to give his pound of flesh.
Yes, pound of flesh.
Right, because his wife was assaulted.
Yep.
Yeah. So
exactly.
we said like a penny short or a gram short, and the fridge will not be unlocked.
Yep. And
I will say though that it didn't make a whole lot of sense in that scenario that the first thing on his mind would be to assault her. I'm not saying that he wouldn't assault her. I'm just saying in that case,
Yeah.
I think that there was too much at stake to really pause and dwell on that thing. In my opinion, it's an otherwise great movie, but I remember seeing that scene and thinking that it has the emotional payoff you want, and it's it's a good way to end the story of the character and all that, but really, it would seem like he would just kill her and run at that point.
Well, it would make more sense if he had walked in. If the same thing, the same concept of laying hands. If it would have been like sexual assault, as it was implied there, if you just would have hit her, still with the same effect, in order to knock her out, in order to take her captive.
Right. I mean, I just. It's not that I don't think he's capable of assault. I'm just saying that in that scenario, when there's already a few of his own men were just killed, and he's not on his own home turf here.
Yeah. No reason. I agree with you 100%. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. He should have just hit her, knocked her out, and
right, and that would have worked. Maybe he beats her up, throws her around from side to side, and almost lands this final huge punch, trying to take something and break it on her head, and then he walks in. And I actually at that point would have liked to have seen, the more machete McConaughey. You know what I'm saying? I would have wanted to see more of a payoff there. It's like, oh, you did that to my woman. And then to see something a little more, I don't know if to say a more satisfying conclusion or whatever you want to call it. I thought that kind of ended quickly, and it's all right. It's a movie that I have almost zero comments on. I really, really like it. That was the only minor comment that I had.
To me, I specifically went to this particular scene because I showed it before, the fact that he barges into her office, a gun blazing, and this harkens back to this because I think what Ritchie was trying to do was this particular story doesn't end in a bullet through Dry Eyes' head. This is just Fletcher kind of flamboyantly even says that every movie needs a little bit of action, right? And Raymond is like, no, I was in the room. He dealt with it in a much more diplomatic way, and then he tells the real story
in a way too. So what we're witnessing as well, is this the Bush screenplay that Fletcher wrote, or is it the actual sequence of events?
Exactly, and
because again, we already know Fletcher is a very, very shoddy narrator. So,
and like I said, it's sort of like it boils down to, maybe Ritchie was trying to give you that action moment, but for real, because he took revenge. He actually shot Dry Eye for real because he actually did something wrong, not just, he slighted me in this meeting that we did.
Yeah, or again, reason it could be the fact that that Dry Eye never did try to essay Rosalind at all. Maybe he just hit her, but in Fletcher's script, he had to amp it up.
Yeah, he had to sort of
make it worse. Yeah. So unreliable narrators. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you love the most, all my feelings. All right. And it kind of really ends with this, where to me, it's a nice little setup and payoff. And if you don't pay attention, it's really interesting, because when Mickey goes to Rosalind's office and they have that the whole point of the guy who testing the weed and all that stuff, when he leaves, he's like, can I get one? And she's like, not here, put the kettle on. This in sort of a hotel or hideaway or whatever, he says, can I get one? And she's sort of have that smirk, and then she closes the door, meaning, yes, it's going to happen. Either a quickie, a blowjob, whatever you want to, imagine that it's going to happen between a man and a woman, man and his wife, really. But she feels like, this is the correct setting, not in my office, not in front of everybody, but like in my private office where everybody kind of imagines what happens. But she doesn't give it away that quickly. And this is the setting, this is the place. We're going to have this right now. But I like Mickey's sentence. It harkens back to the start, where it's not enough to act like a king. You need to be the king. Otherwise, things would just,
become chaos. What's great is the fact that he says he actually gives the epilogue to that. And that's what my wife told me.
That's what my wife told me. And he gives her all the props.
I will say, I want to go back just a little bit on the bit where the toddlers take out the two other Russian killers that are going after Mickey. Now, do you think, because the toddlers, they call Coach and say, don't worry, Coach, we've got the whole Pearson problem under control. Do you think that they were trying to kill Mickey and they just happened to take out the assassins by accident?
I don't think so. Because all the stuff that happened...
Well, because no one else knew about the assassins.
Yeah, but all the stuff that happened through the moment, like after the moment where they robbed Mickey, then their coach was like, you don't understand what's going on. We have to pay them back. He's gonna brunt all the blame on it.
But the boys taking out Michael would be like, well, Coach, we're taking you out of it because we're eliminating your problems for you. If they kill Michael, he has no problems. That's what I was curious about that, because what's your opinion on that, Reason? Because I'm thinking it was just a happy coincidence.
I'm not 100% sure.
It like I said, it really is so ambiguous. You don't actually know. I cannot say. I can't say.
I would say
I
it worked out. Overall, in the end, it worked out in the best set of circumstances.
The
But it
toddlers,
was-
look, the toddlers are not dumb. They're made up to be dumb at the start, sort of like brash young guys. But as you see them introduced with Coach, and they follow Coach's example and follow Coach's word,
They become more valuable. You know, over time, they start off as goofballs, but by the end, maybe they're a little better than that.
exactly. So I don't think they're at that point where they want to kill Mickey to save a little bit of, trouble for Coach at the at a later point. I think if they would have done that, they knew Raymond would come after them and after Coach. So I don't think that's the move, but it's still ambiguous. So it's open-ended.
I'm just throwing that as a possibility because it's something that's interesting to think about. It's like, oh, was it just a happy set of circumstances?
Yeah,
Was this
it is an interesting point, and I'm not 100% sure. It certainly works out neatly with the plot and tying up all the loose ends, but one has to wonder about it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. That kind of brings us to the end of the movie. So a little bit of summarization, Price, on the whole.
I think that this is a good movie, and it could be Guy Ritchie's finest work since maybe Snatch. It's really, I think Lock, Stock, I think of Snatch, I think of this movie. There's other movies in the middle that I may have seen that were all right, whether it's more commercial ones like Sherlock Holmes or that Wrath of Man, or ones that I struggle to remember right now. But I think that this movie really ranks high up there amongst the best of his movies. Every actor here does something really cool that's right for them. Memorable performances. Even actors, like you said, like Hugh Grant, that you don't always like them or they're kind of annoying. Every actor is really utilized well, and he really shows his strength as a writer and as a director, and kind of the vision that he has. This movie, just everything came together in a really good way.
Cool. Feelings?
No, I agree wholeheartedly. One thing I agree with, first and foremost, I think one of the best things that Ritchie has done throughout his career in the films that he has had complete, real creative control over is casting. Making sure that the correct person is in the proper role that suits them accordingly. Starting again from Lock, Stock all the way through. I mean, I know you didn't much like you kind of gained a little bit more appreciation for Rock and Rolla than you did before. But you can see the casting works. Like everything, like whoever is cast in their role was supposed to be in their role. And his creative process of apparently he did this also sideline a little bit for Rock and Rolla as well, where they did some table reads, but a lot of it was like live rehearsals of scenes and like a lot of stuff that Tandy Newton as the accountant's role was a lot of rewrites, but it works in a way that you don't like. You never really think about it too much until you watch the film and realize, like, okay, this character is perfect. This actor is perfect for this role. And I can't imagine pretty much anyone else in that role specifically.
Yeah. Just imagine the role of Mickey in Snatch not going to Brad Pitt. It's you can't even imagine somebody else in that sort of role. But yeah, I
mean, come on, Turkish. Who else could have played Turkish?
Yeah, exactly.
Even this right now, I can't think of another actor that could have played Raymond better than Charlie Hunnam.
No, it's great. This is where he shows his kind of Tarantino skills, where he makes a cool movie, he has a certain vision, he knows what he wants to do with the actors, and he brings out great performances that are memorable all across the board. I really like what he did with this movie.
Who knew Matthew McConaughey would have been a great, like, villain gangster unassuming kind of a guy.
You know what I want to say. I want to say that Matthew McConaughey, when he started his career, when you see that movie like A Time to Kill, that is not some stupid rom-com. That's a movie where real things happen with that trial in that town and Samuel L. Jackson and whatever it is. And I think that you could tell in that movie that if he's given something more serious to do, a more serious movie, he's totally down to do it. It's just what happened to him is that studios started offering him a lot of money to do rom-coms. So then instead of continuing this kind of serious direction where he can actually be a real actor, people kind of dismissed him because they're like, oh, he's in one with Sarah Jessica Parker, and now he's with Goldie Hawn's daughter. I can't remember her name.
10 Ways to...
whatever, all those Sahara, Shmahara, I don't know, boats, not boats. I don't even know. It's all a bunch of crap. There's certainly a lot of crap that he's in. And I think that at some point, I don't know if he changed agent or what happened to him. He woke up one day and started taking real roles like that True Detective season 1. I think.
Well, really I think it really started again like right there in the mid 2010s. True Detective, Dallas Buyers Club.
Wait.
Right.
I'm gonna bring up one role that was the most close to this role, but in a completely different way. There's a movie called The Lincoln Lawyer.
Oh, Lincoln Lawyer, yeah.
Yes, that movie too.
But he's really a criminal, and you know what his character's name is in that movie? Mick.
Yeah, I mean that's good, and there's also even The Wolf of Wall Street. He has a memorable little role. He did Interstellar.
Yeah, well, the Wolf of Wall Street.
I mean, what happened was that I think that he started dropping all those millions of rom-coms, taking more serious roles, and he's lucky that he's genuinely a good actor and that he was able to make that transition, because one more stupid romantic comedy, and I think his career would have been finished.
Yeah. Like Sahara.
Right.
All right. That kind of brings us to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Price, anything to promote?
Just if you feel like it, there's my main channel, Price of Reason, and then there's my kind of live/experimental channel, Price of Reason Live. Both are good for different reasons. In the main one, you have reviews and news stories, things like that are more kind of organized. Live has a lot of live stream, has a lot of kind of fun, experimental stuff. Recommend them both if you're into that sort of thing. And that's it.
Awesome. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to cover the first Guy Ritchie movie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. So go ahead and get that on your Netflix, on YouTubies, on your whatevers. There's a way to watch it for free, not piracy out there, just depending on where you are in the world. But make sure you watch that and come back to us next week. Until then, like, share, subscribe. It really helps. Like I said, particularly, and all my feelings know this, I don't really care how many people are here. I just want to have some fun and talk about movies and have some people just enjoy the show. You don't really have to talk, just enjoy the show. Anything else that is related, related to YouTube, like subscription, like subscribing or liking or sharing it around, that just helps getting other people who like movies to find the show and just enjoy the movie making business, or just going back and watching old movies, even from 2019. It's still considered old. I went back and somebody said it on, I think it was on X, that from 1985 to 1955, from Back to the Future, is just 30 years. 30 years back, if you would have gone back if Marty McFly would have gone back to the future today, he would have gone back to 1994. And the difference is, there's not a lot of difference if you really think about it. So it's very interesting. Old movies are worth it. There's a lot of content out there to experience. Not a lot of people have seen Die Hard. You know what's crazy? But it's true. So go watch.
Still a Christmas movie.
Go watch Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. It's worth it. Come back to us. We'll talk about it next week with I think with a guest. I'm not sure. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week. We'll see you next week.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.